In this Star Wars Jedi Survivor news update video, I will be sharing with you the release date and first screenshots of the last gen version. That's right, the PS4 and Xbox One version of Jedi Survivor is finally coming out, and in this video I've got everything you need to know. But before we do get into all of today's news though, make sure you do subscribe to this channel so you won't miss any future news updates on Jedi Survivor. So, it has now been over a year since EA announced that they were making a last gen version of Jedi Survivor. This is something that many of us thought could be an impossible task, and given their radio silence until today, we all assumed that it may have been cancelled because it was just too difficult to do. If you have watched my previous videos, you will know that I have been reporting on the fact that this last gen version did get age rated a few months ago in some regions, and there was also loads of patch updates made to the PC version behind the scenes on Steam, which usually is a sign of a new update. Now, since May, there has been like 25 now builds submitted by Respawn for a new patch coming to the PC version of the game. This has led us to believe that the work they are doing for the last gen versions is being also brought over to the PC and current gen consoles, perhaps to improve performance even more. Well, I have some good news. EA have confirmed to some news websites that the PC version of Jedi Survivor will receive an update in the coming weeks. This update will be bringing enhancements to the game's technical performance, controls and more, plus a variety of quality of life improvements. It is great that they are going back to actually trying to fix this awfully performative game. I really do hope that performance is fixed once and for all, but I'm not hugely optimistic, but we'll see what happens when the update does come out. I am also interested to see what these enhancements to controls and various quality of life improvements are. We don't have a specific date for when this update is releasing, but I'd imagine it will come out around the release date of the last gen version, which is in just a few weeks. Unfortunately, there is no confirmation of a PS5 or Xbox Series X or S update, so I assume that is not happening. It's just going to be a PC update and the last gen version. It is a disappointment that we aren't getting a current gen patch, but we do have a release date for the PS4 and Xbox One version. So it's coming out in just over a month, September 17th. So 6 weeks from today, you will be able to play Jedi Survivor on your last gen console on the Tuesday it comes out. In terms of cost, it does come in at $50 or £45. However, if you do have EA Play, you will save 10%. So, as expected, because it is a last-gen version of the game, it does cost less than the launch retail price of Jedi Survivor on last-gen and PC. Much like the original version of Jedi Survivor, if you do pre-order this version of it, you will receive the Obi-Wan Kenobi-inspired Hermit outfit and other cosmetics. At this moment in time, there is no confirmation of a physical copy that will be able to be purchased, so if you would like discs, you may not be able to get this, but I will keep you updated if anything is announced. I'm sure there are plenty of people out there right now wondering what on earth this is going to look like. How bad is it going to be? Is the frame rate going to be awful? Because it's still not great on high-end PCs or the current-gen consoles. Well, on the Xbox Game Store, we do have 3 screenshots on the product listing for this Xbox One version. So I'm going to be showing you a direct comparison of the last gen version and the current gen version. I do believe these screenshots of the Xbox One version are actually the Xbox One X version because they are in 4K resolution. So this is not the base Xbox One because it can't do 4K. Let's start with this image of Cal walking out of Pyloon's saloon at the start of the game. The biggest takeaway for me is that it doesn't look awful, but there are clear downgrades, specifically in the lighting. It just looks way worse. The lighting is clearly far worse on the last gen version. It's not as sharp, even though both of these images are at 4K resolution. There is aliasing going on, specifically on BD1's antennas. You can also see a lack of detail on the props in the background. But aside from general texture resolution of Cal and his face just not looking quite as good, maybe it is just the lighting, it's not so bad. But that is just a cutscene. What about actual gameplay screenshots? Well, we have this shot of Cal overlooking Rambler's Reach on Kobo towards the start of the game again. You can clearly see the lighting is just nowhere near as good. The left screenshot will have ray tracing, the right screenshot does not, and there are clear cutbacks. For example, really close to the camera, there is no grass whatsoever on the last gen version. It's there in the current gen version, nothing in the last gen. In the distance, you can see a lot less vegetation as well. If you take a look at the observatory, wow, yeah, there's a massive downgrade there in terms of the actual model. It's nowhere near as detailed, and it does not look great. The rocks in the distance also do lack some detail, whereas Rambler's Reach, honestly, considering how big this game is, how demanding it is, it clearly is worse than the current gen version, but it isn't as bad as what I thought it would look like. Now for a proper screenshot, and this is Cal facing the Rancor, and again, the lighting is probably the biggest difference. It just is not as nice looking. But it doesn't look as bad as I expected, nor I think most people expected. Clearly there is a lot of detail in the surroundings, as well as Cal's character model and the Rancor itself, but it may be passable for those that can't afford a current gen console or just don't want to upgrade. For me personally, the lighting is a big downgrade and is not something I would want to compromise on. Also, the resolution and such, it really is important to a game of this quality when you are playing. It feels like you are playing a film. It's very high quality, so the downgrade isn't great, but I think people will be fine with playing this if they don't care about graphics. In terms of performance though, that's where I'm very interested to see what cutbacks have been made, because we know Fallen Order had issues on last gen, and Jedi Survivor really took utilization of SSDs. Well, the last gen consoles don't have SSDs, so have they perhaps implemented loading screens for various areas so it's not as open world-like? That is a possibility. Or they have just somehow miraculously made this work. I don't know. Performance though, I don't think it will be hitting anything more than 30 frames per second. I would be absolutely shocked if there is a 60 FPS mode that's stable. If there is, then wow, I don't know how they've done it, but that also will need to come to current gen and PC, but I just highly doubt it. I just can't imagine it because it doesn't look truly awful. I can't wait to check out this version, and I'm sure people will be excited to check out Jedi Survivor for the first time because they've not been able to experience this story yet, and it's a great one. So hopefully it isn't awful when it does release in terms of performance, but I'll be covering this. As always, I have extensively covered Jedi Survivor since launch. Be sure to comment down below any of your thoughts on what I've talked about in this video. Are you going to be getting the last gen version? And if you did miss any of my and if you enjoyed this video, please do drop a like, subscribe so you don't miss any future news videos on Jedi Survivor, and if you did miss any of my previous videos, click on the playlist on screen right now, and I shall see you in my next video. Goodbye.